is taking the Mikel. We're back. John Obi Mikel, myself, Chris McCarty. It is the day after the night before. Chelsea won, Arsenal won. John, you're smiling, but your take, your verdict on what we saw at the bridge?
Well, yeah. I mean, it wasn't the greatest of game, was it? I mean, but I think both teams did put in a shift, obviously tried to. I wouldn't say both teams came out to win the game, really, because I didn't see.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, it was kind of a chess kind of game. But I think we started well. I think first half we started well, and then second half Arsenal came back into the game. I think they finished well, but I think looking back at the game, you wouldn't say that both sides was a bit cautious. Didn't want to lose the game. I think at the end of the game, I think a draw was a fair result, but. I think we obviously, I think coming back from where we were start of the season to where we are now, and one thing that I can take away from last night's game was the performance. That now we can compete with the big boys, we can compete with the big team. Because when you look at it, Arsenal from the start of the season, Arsenal were way ahead of us in terms of progress as well. Looking at it, Arteta's been there for so many years. We have Maresca who's just come in. Try to, move some players along and brought in some of his own players. So for me, I think looking back from where we started the season and where we are now, it's a massive, massive progress.
I want to talk. There's a couple of elements from it. Some of the new players, Pedro Neto, of course, got the equaliser. It's an old player I want to focus on first, though. Kai Havertz.
Yeah.
I'd say the curious case, but not universally loved at the football club when he was there. Scored the Champions League winning goal for the football club. Scored a goal in that game.
Yeah.
It was disallowed, rightly so. We're talking margins.
Oh, margins, yeah.
He was offside, though. He put the finger to the mouth to shush the fans. That's a message, because I've seen a lot of Chelsea fans in the kind of intervening hours say he should be more grateful. Why was he doing that to us? At the end of the day, he wasn't universally loved at Chelsea.
Listen, but he spent years at the club, and he won. Did he win the Champions League at the club? He scored the goal as well that won us the Champions League, didn't he? So for me, it wasn't so bad. He had some great memories at the football club. Looking back at it yesterday, maybe it was just a game. If he now wakes up this morning, I think it's just the adrenaline of the game. I think it was just the whole passion of the game that made him do that. But I still think it's a bit disrespectful for a club that you've played and won trophies.
To do that.
So to do that, for me, I think it's just disrespectful, because the fans, whether you think, one thing I did at the football club, obviously, when I played for Chelsea, I spent 11, almost 12 years at the club. I wasn't the most liked player. I wasn't one of the favorites, like the Lampards, like the DJ Drogba, like the JTs. Because they were the ones, they were scoring goals. They were scoring goals, they were giving assists. But my role at the club wasn't, listen, you can add that to your game, which is very, very good. But some of the fans didn't actually accept me or like me, but appreciate me as much as they should. But that didn't stop me from loving the club and had to do my job and still love the club up till today. I wouldn't see a fan of Chelsea Football Club now and say, listen, you guys didn't accept me back in the day, really. Like, I wasn't, you guys didn't appreciate me as much. Now I would just, if I see you guys, I say, do one. You know what I mean? I wouldn't do that. So for me, I think when you've been at the football club for a while and you won trophies, you have good memories. I think if you leave the football club and come back, you score a goal against the football club, I think you should still show some sort of respect. And I think last night, by doing that, you can, if you wanted to celebrate, you can celebrate, but not to shush the fans.
I think
I don't know the reason why that happened, but for me, it was just a little bit disrespectful.
I think, and again, I'm only looking in from the outside on this, John. Yeah. I think it comes back to the fact that I think football fans we're a fickle bunch, and I am a football fan. I think we forget sometimes. I've seen, as I say, a lot of outrage to it.
Yeah.
But the same individuals, or at least some of them, with this faux outrage, are the same individuals that booed Kai Havertz, that didn't think he was a number 9, that didn't feel he was putting in a shift, that they didn't feel he had enough quality. So, listen, I'm not living in Kai Havertz's shoes, but I think that's a response to a lot of people in this stadium when I was playing for this football club, despite scoring a Champions League final goal, maybe I didn't get the respect
I know that. But again, it comes back to what I've just said. You still have to show some respect, some because now he plays for Arsenal. He has the right to celebrate. For me, he can celebrate a goal. Again, that might be a little bit disrespectful, but
you would rather the celebration.
Yeah, I'd rather he celebrate a goal because now he plays for Arsenal. He's an Arsenal football player. He plays for Arsenal. So for me, I think the shush was a little bit much. Celebrate the goal, but I think don't shush the fans because you had some good memories at the football club, and coming back at the bridge. And of course, and the goal was again disallowed after the whole thing. So it didn't really make sense, did it? That he celebrated and told the fans to shut up. So no, I think if he wakes up this morning and you ask him again, he'd probably say, "Listen, it was a mistake. It was the adrenaline of the game. It was emotion of the game, and I just did it. It was just off the cuff. I didn't really think about it. It just happened." But again. That, for me, is a little bit disrespectful.
You spoke last week in the build-up to this game about the fact that you're fed up of seeing opposing players hugging and kissing before games, after games. There was none of that because Kai Havertz in that match, Moises Caicedo had it in for him. Yeah. We saw Pedro Neto and Kai have a little clash. Wesley Fofana, who I thought, by the way, was arguably Chelsea's best player on the night. I thought he was fantastic.
Yeah, he played well, yeah.
He was giving it to him as well. Fair to say that one or two Chelsea players were targeting Mr. Havertz.
Listen, I saw a little bit of that rivalry yesterday. Not enough, but I saw a little bit of it, which is something that I liked. And I saw the Chelsea players, trying to be physical, trying to make sure that we don't get bullied, especially in our home at Stamford Bridge, by the likes of Gabriel, Suliba, and all these players, Declan Rice, Partey, because that's what they do when you go to play them at the Emirates. They try to bully teams. They come in front of you. They're very aggressive. I saw a bit of that from us. I saw a bit of that from the Chelsea players, which is something that I really like. I thought Caicedo as well played really well. He was there, putting in tackles, putting in shift, and the aggressiveness that he showed. I saw the poker face from him yesterday. That's what I liked. Fofana played well. Cucurella as well kept Saka very, very quiet. And I saw he was, nibbling at him. And that's something that I want to see week in, week out at the football club. But to demonstrate that again yesterday at the derby between Arsenal, for me, it was good to see that edge, just that edge, something there of that spiciness is still there. I like to see that when it comes to these rivalry games. I like to see that. And yesterday, I think the tackles were flying, not as much. I like to see a bit more, but not to go over the line. You know what I mean? But yesterday was good. I liked that we didn't get bullied at home, especially, because those guys, Arsenal, because of their physicality, because of their size, they like to bully players, they like to bully teams. And I don't want them to go back home and call us now the kids. So that didn't happen. So we... it was a 50-50 game. At the end of the day, both sides didn't really push on at the later stage of the game. You might say Arsenal at the later stage of the game did a little bit with that last chance. But I still think maybe Saliba might have been a little bit offside, I think.
It would have been maybe checked.
Maybe it was just offside. It was very, very close. But that was a chance. That was definitely a chance. But I think towards the end, you might say Arsenal just did a little bit, not a lot, a little bit to win it. Like Mikel Arteta said after the game, said we did just a little bit more to have won it. But I don't think there was a big margin there. I think both sides played really well. We played really well. We competed, and I'll just say it again. It's so nice to see us back from where we are. Start of the season, we got smashed by City 2-0. But now, the progress that we've made, and now we can compete with Arsenal, who is the most favorite to win the Premier League start of the season. Everybody was saying Arsenal are the favorite to win the Premier League. So for us to compete with Arsenal and to make sure that we didn't get bullied or smashed. For me, that was really, really good to see.
And heading into this international break, still ahead of Arsenal.
Yeah.
In the table,
still
Chelsea
ahead.
sitting third, Arsenal down in fourth. Interesting as well, John. We spoke Moises Caicedo and Romeo Lavia. The platform that those two players give to this Chelsea side. Enzo Fernandez came on, and there's been a lot and have said, and
Yeah.
we get a lot of comments, whether it be on YouTube, whether it be on social media, about your thoughts on Enzo Fernandez. He's someone that does polarize opinion.
Yeah.
There are those that love him. There are those that are frustrated with him. I think it's fair to say.
I think the whole thing started from the start of the season, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, listen, he made a mistake. I think from now, let's just move on from it. Like, you know, it's done. Whatever happened during the summer,
It's in the past.
It's in the past.
Yeah,
we move on from it. You know, I think it's clearly affected probably his performances. We can see that. You can tell. If you don't start the season well, it takes a bit of time. Then you start to push. Then you start to try much harder. Then it doesn't come. You just need to relax a bit, calm down a bit, take a breath, and then go again. And I think that's something maybe he needs as well. And that's why the manager's pulled him back a bit. You know, take him out of the firing line a bit and say, listen, I'm going to pull you back a bit, and then you have to go again. He came on last night. There was a little bit of flashes. Obviously, he gave the assist for the goal. And again, that pass, to play that pass at the right time, at the right space, I've always said it. There's a player there. He's a clever player. He's a fantastic player. We always see that when he plays for Argentina. And we like to see more of that. He came in, yes, he started feeding those passes through the line. And that's something maybe that Lavia didn't do yesterday. But of course, Lavia is a player who keeps the position together with Caicedo, make sure that the team is solid and stable. But of course, Fernandez came in yesterday and played that pass at the right time to Pedro Neto at the right space, at the right time. And all he had to do, take a touch and a finish. So that's a fantastic assist from him.
Yeah, you think then, and I think there is a lot of truth to what you're saying. Enzo just pulling him back in. He had the Copa America, giving a little bit of a breather.
Yeah.
Ultimately, though, it's up to him now to perform like that when he gets the opportunity.
Yes.
To break this kind of duopoly between Caicedo and Lavia. Because again, there's different schools of thoughts, John.
Yeah.
At Stamford Bridge, the question will be asked, do you need Lavia and
exactly.
Caicedo?
True. Do you need Lavia and Caicedo? But again, that's what I'm saying. It comes down to performances. Even when the managers played both Fernandez and Caicedo, he hasn't done that much. That's what I'm saying. So maybe yesterday, coming in and and playing those two passes between the lines might have just given a little bit of edge. Of course, he came in and we scored the goal. He gave the assist. Maybe that might say, okay, next time we play at home, then you might say, okay, Caicedo, you sit a bit more and let Fernandez go a bit higher and try to fit those passes through. So did he do enough? Did he do enough now to warrant him to start the next game? I don't know. But again, Latvia also let's not forget, he had a really, really solid game. Maybe not the fantastic, but he had a solid game next to Caicedo. So for me, it's a good headache to have as a manager, for Enzo Maresca. It's a good headache. Those three, he needs to decide who he needs. Yeah. Again, it comes down to different opponents who we're playing against. Does he need to go with Fernandez and Caicedo, or does he need to go with Caicedo and Latvia?
One thing we can both agree on. Caicedo gets in.
Caicedo gets the nod. Caicedo is number one, isn't it? Yeah. He's brilliant. His performances since the start of the season, when he first came in, everyone was saying, oh my God, another 100 million we paid for him?
100 plus.
And, he had so many bad games last season. And everyone was doubting him. And I kept saying, listen, this guy is a great player. He's a fantastic player. He just needs a bit of time. Watch him now play for us. Watch him play for Chelsea. He's the boss. He's the man. The performances, the way he walks around the pitch, his demeanor, his arrogance, the way he carries himself. Yeah. You can tell this is a Caicedo's team. He's the man. He's the number one player on the team sheet right now, if you ask me. It's him, it's Levi Colwell, is Fofana, it's Cole Palmer. So for me, these are the four players that has to start, for that, for us. So, I mean, a massive progress for Caicedo, and I love to see him performing the way he is, because a lot of people doubted him when he came to the football club. Oh my Lord, God, he can't move, he can't run. But now his performance is absolutely fantastic. Yeah.
Pedro Neto as well, arguably his showed flashes.
Yeah.
It's packaging it up, and it was interesting listening to the commentary. I think it was Gary Neville who was in the commentary box for Sky Sports, talking about just wanting him to believe in himself.
Yeah.
Because he's got the lot, John. And we've spoken about Eden Hazard, but you look at the wingers that Chelsea have had, the Arjen Robbins, the Damien Duffs, that first Jose Mourinho Chelsea team. Pedro Neto's got it all. He's got a great physique. He's absolutely rapid.
It's rapid, exactly.
He can go on either side.
I love the fact you said that. Yesterday there was, I think it was second half when he got the ball I think it was a corner headed out, and he got the ball. I thought he could progress. He could run at Arsenal. He could go with the ball. Because, like you said, he's the quickest. I think he's the quickest on that pitch.
Yeah,
but what did he do?
Yeah.
He turned around and passed the ball backwards. So for me, that's what I think he needed to go, attack, take the ball forward, run, because you are very, very fast. If he runs, I don't think anybody can catch him. But he turned around and passed the ball backwards. Maybe that's where I look at it and I thought, we didn't do that much to want to win the game. We didn't do that much. We didn't push enough. We didn't throw the kitchen sink to say, okay, we want to win this game. Neither did Arsenal, but I just think towards the end, you might say Arsenal just did a little bit more to
that great chance at the end.
To have won the game. So neither team threw the kitchen sink. Let's just put it that way. It wasn't a fantastic game, but it was a good game to watch, but it wasn't a great derby game. No, it wasn't. No, definitely
much,
not. No, definitely not.
Over the course of the next couple of weeks, it is. But there's that, and again, we're early on in this Enzo Maresca era, if we can call it that. But there are signs. I thought Cole was pretty quiet.
Yeah, quiet.
But Neto was.
Yeah, but again, we talk about Cole Palmer. I'm a big fan, huge fan. I think everybody is a huge fan.
I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, but again, big games, you need to show up. Big games, you need to show up. That, again, is my only, question with Haaland. Big games, you need to show up. And so far, Haaland hasn't done that for City. So far, Cole Palmer hasn't done it for us. Yes, he scored a goal, against City last season.
City at the start of the campaign, he was pretty quiet.
Yeah, it was pretty quiet.
First game.
Yeah, Liverpool the same. He was quiet. Exactly. Again, United again. So the big games, I like to see him. I like to see Cole Palmer because we all love Cole Palmer. He's an absolutely fantastic player. But again, you can't keep doing that against the lesser. No, I'm not. There's no lesser team now in the Premier League. But
the big games, the big games. The
big games. You see Lamine Yamal. He shows up in the big games. He shows up in the big games. You know what I mean? I like to see Cole Palmer do a bit more of that. He's an absolutely, absolutely fantastic player. Now, Chelsea fans, don't come for me. He's an absolutely fantastic. We all love him. You know what I mean? I'm a Chelsea fan. We all love Cole Palmer. But I like to see him in the big games. Give those assists. Do something. I think the first 5-10 minutes, he had a shot. He had a shot, which I thought, okay, now I'm starting to say a little bit. But then he fizzled out in the game. He went very, very quiet. But again, it's credit to the big teams because they know they have to pay attention to Cole Palmer.
Yes.
He is the main man. He's the guy who makes things happen. So they're gonna try to make sure they cut him out of the game. So for me, it's both the opponent who we're playing against, and also he needs to do a little bit more because he knows the big teams are not going to give him the spaces that he wants. So he needs to find a way. He needs to find a different way of getting into the game and creating chances and scoring goals as well. But again, we all love Cole Palmer.
Yeah, don't flood John's Instagram DMs. We've had enough of that from the Jackson Brigade.
It's fine, I can take it.
I think there's a lot of truth to what you're saying. I think Cole Palmer find a way up to Enzo.
He needs to find a way.
And Cole himself and his teammates to find a way to really grab a game of that magnitude.
Exactly. I think Maresca, that's probably the next task of Maresca. How do I get him in the big games to perform? How do I find spaces for him?
You're right.
Because he's the guy who wins those games. He's the guy, if we need to start winning the big games, and again, I've said it again, we need to start winning the big games. How do we win the big games? You need to get your best players to perform.
And the same with Nicholas yesterday.
Exactly. Nicholas as well, he was quiet game. It was a quiet game as well. And again, same as him as well. Big games as well. He needs to show up.
Yeah.
He needs to score goals in the big game. So these are your two main men. And the partnership is really, really good. So how do you find the space for these two in the big games to perform and find the spaces that they need to create chances and score goals? So for me, that should be Maresca's next task because we need Cole Palmer in big games if we need to start winning these big games. Because so far, we haven't won any big top 3, top 4 so far this season.
And again, question marks have been asked of the Spaniard. Gabriel Martinelli scores the goal, near post.
Yeah.
Interesting to hear the thoughts of Graham Potter, former Chelsea boss, afterwards, talking about the fact that Robert's always been one of those kind of goalkeepers that hedges his bets a little bit. But it comes down to awareness for me. on his left side, there's a lot of Chelsea players blocking the avenue of Gabriel Martinelli squaring it. He's got to shimmy up closer. As a goalkeeper of terrible repute myself, even I know you got to protect your near post. Don't get beat at the near post.
Which amateur team did you play?
Crap side. And the least said about that, the better. But even I know, don't overexpose.
No, you can't be beaten on your near post. I think as a goalkeeper, if you're beaten on your near post, there is no question, there is no doubt about it. It's your fault.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. It's your fault. You can't be beaten on your near post. I looked at it again yesterday. I saw that, I watched it afterwards, and I saw, he should cover his near post. He didn't do enough to sort of cover. If he goes there and the striker taps it in, that's not your fault.
I agree.
But you can't be beating on your near post. You need to make sure you hug that pole. You need to make sure you're next to it. So that if he comes there, that's where you should be. You should make sure you make that save. And he didn't do that. So for me, it's something that we've said again. If we have to win the big games, if we need to win big trophies, he's not the guy. Sorry, Robert. He's not the guy. We need a top goalkeeper if we need to compete to win the Premier League, if we want to compete to be in the top 4, if we want to compete to win the Champions League, we need a top goalkeeper. And for me, Robert Sanchez, sometimes, there's here and there he produces, some great saves. Like yesterday, there was a good save that he made. I think there was a save that he made off Martinelli, that hit him on the shoulder. I didn't think he knows much. I don't think he knew much about that, where the ball hit him, because, he was just so big. Yeah, he made a save, but still, it's a save. A save is a save. But if we need to win the Premier League, compete for the top 4, I think we need a top goalkeeper. So for me, he shouldn't be beaten in his near post. For me, definitely, I think that's one he will look back today and be like, I could do better.
I did think about you actually when Martinelli scored that opening goal, because we did your combined.
What's that? Did I score goals like that, mate? Is that what you mean?
No, I was thinking about you because you did your combined 11 in the last episode. Yeah. And loads of Chelsea fans giving you dog's abuse for sticking Gabriel Martinelli in the team. And I thought to myself, oh God, John won't be smiling right now, but vindicated in the sense.
And I thought he had a good game yesterday, Martinelli.
Arguably, because he's had a bit of an iffy start.
Yes. Arguably Arsenal's best player yesterday.
And best performance that he's had
best performance
in a long
well.
time. I thought him and Odegaard were the two real threats. Saka was quiet. Havertz was on the periphery.
Yeah, Cucurella kept Saka quiet.
Very quiet.
Sometimes it's not how quiet the player is, it's about the opponent. And I thought Cucurella did enough to keep him quiet. And I think that's why the manager obviously made that tactical decision to start Cucurella instead of Reece James, who hasn't had much games this season, who's just coming back from injury. So for me, credit to Maresca. He makes the big calls. He's not scared of making the big calls. He's not scared of making the big decisions. And this is what a manager has to do. If you want to be a big club, if you want to become a big manager, a top manager, you have to be ready to make the big decisions. That's something that I think that cost England the Euros, because Gareth wasn't big enough, strong enough to make the big decisions when he was supposed to make it. He kept on going with the name. He wasn't strong enough to make the big decision. And that's something that Maresca has done since he's been at the football club, to make the big decisions, to make the right decisions. And that's something that he got correct yesterday, because Reece hasn't played enough games. No. And everybody was going on, why is Reece James, before the start of the game, why is Reece James on the bench? And we saw that because Cucurella kept Saka quiet. And again, Martinelli yesterday, fantastic. I thought he played really well. And of course, this have to be in my so-called starting 11.
Yes, he proved that you maybe
he proved
that you were maybe just right on that. In terms of the game itself, 1-1, I think we both agree, a fair result. No one team did enough to win the game. I'll look at the top 4 now, John. You've got Liverpool, City, Chelsea, and Arsenal in that order. I don't know how it's going to finish. No one does.
I'll take that all day today if the Premier League ends today.
Well, I was going to say to you,
then we're in the top 4.
I'm pretty certain. I think that will be the top 4. I'm not sure which order, but I think that will be the top 4 come the end of the season.
Listen, I think this season has shown so many ups and downs. There's so many, surprises this season. I mean, who can predict from the start of the season Nottingham Forest will be where they are today? Fifth? Yeah, exactly. Brighton as well. So and City losing 4 in a row. I know it's different competitions, but they've lost twice now in the Premier League,
Cup, Champions League.
Champions League. But again, for this season, there's just something about this season. There's so many ifs and buts. There's so many surprises. I think that will still happen. It's happening now. That will still happen down the line. So, if anyone is predicting who's going to win the Premier League, I think you just need to hold on a bet. If that bet, keep placing the bet though with bet winner, but make sure you place on the right team. But no, there's so many surprises this season. It's wide open. It's wide open, and I think that's why when you look at Mikel Arteta, he was so frustrated yesterday, thinking, "Oh, I've dropped another 2 points here," and they are far behind right now. I know, what are they? 9 points behind Liverpool. And Liverpool have been absolutely fantastic this season. What Liverpool are doing, they're putting pressure on City and Arsenal. They know Arsenal and City are the favorites. But all they keep doing week in, week out is to keep putting those pressure. Keep winning games and putting those pressure. Then you never know. But for us, all we have to do, I said it and I keep saying it, just beating the so-called smaller teams is not going to get us to the top 4. We need to start,
picking up
points against the big boys, against the top teams. So I think with the performances from last night, I can see it coming. We're getting closer. It's a matter of time before it happens. So we're getting closer. I like the performances. I like what Maresca is doing with the team. There is an identity of how we play. The team looks solid. We're very difficult to break down now. You don't score too many goals against us. And we're creating chances. So we need to find a way to get Cole Palmer involved in the big games. Yeah. We need to find a way to make sure that he performs in the big games. So for me, that should be the next step. Once we do that, we start winning the big games.
An incredible start to life for Arne Slot. To replace Jurgen Klopp, 9 years for that manager of the football club. And we all think to ourselves, it could be Fergie-esque, it could be Arsene Wenger-esque, where we saw David Moyes try and replace Fergie. Couldn't live up to his standing. We saw Unai Emery just not quite reach the levels that Arsene Wenger did. And of course, you're always compared and contrast. You look at what Arne Slot's done, John. 2-0 win against Aston Villa. Mo Salah again at the forefront. And I always come back, and a lot of my mates will say to me, "Oh, love the podcast. I love to hear the stories about Mo. Are they true that, there was tears in the dressing room?" Could you have ever imagined, truthfully, John, that Mo Salah would become the player that we see now week in and week out for Liverpool?
Listen, Mo Salah's story, it's like a fairy tale. It's like a story that it's incredible. I was very close to him when he was at the football club. It was at Chelsea. I was very close to Mo. We was sort of friends, and back then, Mo was a very, very shy person. I don't know what Mo is like today. But back then, Mo was very, very shy. He's Muslim. He was very shy. He was very quiet. He didn't speak much. But honestly, when he was at a football club, he wasn't this player that he is today.
Could you see his quality though, John? Be honest.
We knew he was quick, but that was it. We knew he was quick, that was it. There was nothing more that would make us believe, okay. I think it was Basel he came from, signing from Basel, yeah. He had a fantastic time playing at Basel, but then he came to Chelsea, he came to a massive football club. He just couldn't live up to that expectation. We couldn't see him get to the next level. And his performances were not great. Obviously, Mourinho gave him chances after chances. He just couldn't perform.
And in training, John, was he spanking them in the top?
No, also in training, because Mo was sort of a shy kind of guy, and in training he was also quite. But because the training then was so competitive, we were so competitive during training, and the tackles were flying. You didn't care who you are. Because everybody wanted to be in the starting 11, so we didn't care. Nobody cared who whether you started or not. Everybody was focused on themselves. How do I get myself in the team? So for me, it was how do I get myself in the team? Because I knew there's so many competition. Everybody was competing to make sure come in the weekend we are in the starting 11. And Mo, there wasn't this quality. He was quick, yes, but that was it. That was absolutely it. There was no flashes of this brilliance that we see today. There was nothing like that. And of course, he left, went to Roma, and then became a different animal. And now what he does is absolutely fantastic. What a player he's become since joining Liverpool. And the numbers is there. The stats is there to back it up. He just keeps scoring goals after goals, week in, week out, creating chances. And what he's done for Liverpool Football Club, not just Liverpool, for African football as well, it's absolutely fantastic because, I mean, you're talking arguably right now the best African player to ever play in the Premier League. And of course, you have to put the big man, Didier Drogba, there. And then I come third, probably. No, we argue that next time. No, it's absolutely fantastic what Mo is doing, and no, arguably for me.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. 165 goals he's got in the Premier League. I think Didier 104. Yeah, if memory serves. I mean, what Mo Salah is doing week in and week out.
You can't. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's mind blowing, and he keeps producing. He keeps producing, and it's a shame to see that his contract will expire. At the summer. It will be interesting to see what Liverpool decide to do. I'm sure what he decides to do, but you can see he wants to stay. He loves the club. He loves the place. I think that's his home right now. I think you can tell with his demeanor, with the way he still performs, that he still wants to stay at Liverpool. He's a king. He's a king at Liverpool. He's the Egyptian king.
He's the main man.
So he's the main man. Why would you want to leave? Why do you want to leave somewhere where you're so loved, you're so adored by the fans? And you call this place your home? Why would you want to leave? Of course, yes, we know he's older, but he's still performing. His numbers, even this season, is mind-blowing. At the age that he is right now, still performing week in, week out. He looks shredded. He looks absolutely fit. So for me, why would you want to leave? I'd like to see Liverpool extend his contract. Give him another 2 years, 3 years. I still think he can perform in the next 2-3 years. He can still be a top player. And of course, I like to see him get closer to Alan Shearer's record. It'll be interesting to see if he's going to break it. But I think another 2-3 years, with the numbers and with the rate of the way he's scoring goals and the assists, I think he might get close. But I think that record Alan Shearer's record will be there for a long time. And I think if anyone can break it, Salah can. Yeah. Salah can. And it depends on what Liverpool decides to do. If they decide to extend the contract another 2-3 years, might just see him get close to those numbers.
It's interesting you saying that. Do you think he is? I know obviously Didier, you have huge respect for Didier Drogba, but looking at the numbers, because Didier won more Premier League titles. Didier, of course, has a Champions League to his name as well, as does Mo Salah. But when you look at the influence and the consistency week in, week out, is Mo Africa's finest import into the Premier League?
Let's not forget there's a certain Judge Ware who also played for Chelsea, in the Premier League. He's still the only African player to win the Ballon d'Or.
But he didn't do much.
But he didn't do much. Obviously, he didn't play for a long time in the Premier League. He didn't do much. He didn't impact the Premier League as much as...
So you're still better than George Weah. Still have you above George Weah in the Premier League standings. Is Mo... again, I look at Didier's transformational kind of influence he had at Chelsea.
I think, of course, when you talk about impact, when you talk about a player, an African player coming into the Premier League, a tough, difficult Premier League as it is today, or as it always has been, I think the impact, of course, we have to say Didier Drogba is the player, African player whose impact in the Premier League is massive. It's absolutely massive. But again, the numbers, Mo Salah's numbers, absolutely incredible. It's mind-blowing what he's doing. His numbers is incredible. So I think for me, these two players, but, of course, Didier is the main man, isn't he? He's won more, he's won more. He's achieved a lot more than Mo. So for me, I think that might still just give him a little bit of that edge. But I think if Mo keeps going the way he's going, getting close to those numbers, Alan Shearer's number, then we might start to say, but they're both very, very close. But if you ask me, of course, I have to go with the big man. The big man is still, it's still the man. It's still the big, when you talk about players, idols, players, kids looking up to a player, the impact a player has had in the Premier League coming from Africa, Didier Drogba is the man. And he's led that way for Mo Salah to follow. So for me, I still think Didier is the guy. But the numbers that Mo is doing right now, it's incredible. And it's, it's ludicrous, and you wouldn't argue if somebody says Mo Salah is the greatest African player that's played in the Premier League. You wouldn't argue that.
Wouldn't do that. What has he got? 14 goals and assists this season, more than any other player. 4 of the 11 games he's scored and assisted.
Unbelievable.
It's just remarkable. It's what it is. Right, John, it's an international break.
Yeah.
Man United have got a new boss before we clock off for another week. Yeah, we do. Tell me why Ruben Amorim's going to be the man to bring the glory days back to United. Are the glory days on the way back?
Listen, I when I look at United, are the glory days going to come back to United? With the current players you have, I don't believe that. I do not believe that. I think you can bring any manager that you want to bring to that football club. I think with the current players you have, I was watching yesterday, no disrespect to Leicester. No disrespect to Leicester. Leicester, great football club.
But you're about to this. Come on, John. Tell me.
You know how it is. When somebody says no disrespect, they're disrespecting already.
Yeah, they have. I love it. We've said out. Disrespect Leicester at your will. It's your podcast. Come on.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. But no, obviously they just came in. They just came back to the Premier League, from the Championship. So they will need more seasons. That if they do stay in the Premier League. But I was watching the game yesterday, seeing the way the United fan players were so happy, so happy.
It's funny.
It is again. Sorry, Leicester, but it is Leicester. You beat Leicester 3-0, and I saw Bruno Fernandes so happy, and I'm like, mate, please calm me down a bit, just relax a bit. But what will Amorim bring to the football club? I think we can't judge the man right now. I think it's going to be a very, very difficult job for him coming into the football, taking over right now.
Yeah, no preseason.
No preseason, and the players that he has there. Yes, he knows a couple of the players there because he's worked with them before. But I think the players that he has at the football club right now are not his players. And I don't think he has the players to play in the formation that he wants to play. And it's interesting to hear, I think yesterday he said he will stick to his formation. He will stick to the way he likes to play, which is play 3 at the back. Does United have the players to do that? I saw them play that yesterday, which was, there was a little bit of there and there, but not much. What will he bring? Will he be like Antonio Conte, who is crazy? He will not change. He will not change his system. He believes the 3 at the back is his best formation. He will go with it. He will die with it. He will die on that formation. So for me, it'd be interesting to see if he stays with it or if he changes. Does he have the players to play that formation? I don't think so. Where would you fit Bruno Fernandes? That's the question.
He probably play a 3-4-1-2. I think Sporting he's played a 3-4-2-1 has been his formation. So Bruno would be one of the two. I think the issue is, we've got 3 defenders, no problem. Yoro, De Ligt, Martinez, back 3.
Okay, yeah.
The area,
Mazraoui, I think Mazraoui should play one of those wing backs. Yeah.
It's the other wing back slot.
I think if he has Luke Shaw fit, then you're probably looking, that is a strong back 5.
Ugarte and Menu.
Yeah.
And then he'll play Fernandes either behind a 2, Fernandes and Rashford. Is it Fernandes and Diallo? Is it Fernandes and Garnacho? And then Højlund, he's looking to do what he did with Victor Gyökeres and turn Højlund into a bit of a battering ram, someone that can pin the defenders and bring others into play. But I'm with you. I look at the wide areas in his wing-back system. Mazraoui, a fit Shaw, still a question mark there for me.
Yeah.
And then the composition of the front 3. Because Ugarte and Menu, I think there's real potential. There's legs. There's youthful exuberance in there.
Exactly.
So,
I think yesterday again, the opponent. I think it was Ugarte's best performance yesterday so far.
To your point, and there's been a lot of people getting carried away. Ruud van Nistelrooy, the man with the Midas touch. Nonsense.
I think
Leicester
one thing United,
City,
exactly. Leicester City beat them twice. Exactly.
And Pau,
come on.
Greatest respect to Pau Salonika. We're talking about Man
But again, that's why I just said right now, the glory days are not coming back. It's not back. You can't say the glory days are back when you beat Leicester back twice in the, and then you beat Pau.
And getting excited.
And then, of course, okay, they drew against Chelsea, 1-1. But yeah, I think United should calm it down a bit. It'll be interesting to see what the manager does. But if United need to again come back to the glory days, first of all, what they need to do, they need to go out and get Gyökeres before anybody else gets him. I don't think Højlund is your guy to score you goals, to win you trophies. I don't think he's the guy. Yes, he runs around, he puts in lots of shift, he does this, there, and there, but he can't score goals. He is not that guy that will bring Manchester United back to the glory days. You need a sort of a Gyökeres or sort of a Victor Osimhen. These are strikers that will score you goals week in, week out. You need those top strikers. Of course, again, we still need another top striker at Chelsea. We still need. Again, yesterday shows you. Look at those two teams yesterday. If any of them had a Gyökeres or Victor Osimhen, it would have been a different. That's a good point. Different result altogether yesterday. Different result altogether. You can see that both teams are lacking that finishing, that absolutely top finisher. And if any of those teams yesterday, if we had a Gyökeres or if we had a Victor Osimhen or if Arsenal had one of those, it would have been a different story.
And if United had one of those.
If United had one of those, I think, yes, you might be thinking the glory days are coming back. But it'll be interesting to see what the manager does. But do you have the players to play his system the way he wants to play, aggressive sort of kind of football, front foot kind of football, playing in that formation? And being, very, very attack-minded? No, you don't have the players. So, you don't have the players. So it'll be interesting to see. But let's judge him from next season when he's had the preseason, bring in some of his own players, then we can start to judge the man.
Right, taking the Mikel, done and dusted for another week. Chelsea in the top 4. They're going to finish in the top 4.
I don't think we would have been saying that, at this stage of the season. We didn't predict that, did we? I
thought it would take a little bit more time.
A little bit more time.
But I can see it, John. You're on the right track.
We are on the right track.
And if you keep the Fofanas, the Colwells, the Casados, your Palmers, your Jacksons fit, there's a spine emerging.
There is a spine emerging. And the good thing that I like is that any player that comes in, you can see that the standard doesn't drop. The standard is still high. And it is interesting to see that the likes of João Felix didn't come on yesterday. Sancho didn't come on yesterday.
Sancho's injured.
Sancho's injured, right? Oh, yeah. Okay, and Nkunku came on as well. So the bench that we have it's incredible. Modric came on yesterday as well. I thought he did a little bit okay. Yeah.
Coming on.
Fernandes came on as well. So Reece James came on. So the standard doesn't drop, and that's something that I like with what we have right now. And I think Maresca has done an absolutely fantastic job. I don't think we predicted to be where we are today in the league, 4th in the league. And like I said, if it ends today, I'll take where we are.
Final question before we say ta-ra to everyone. If you were still playing today, do you get in that Chelsea team? Do you think?
Interesting. Very, very interesting. But I think the game has changed, though. I think the game has changed. I think the way we played, the way I played, I don't think...
Come on, John, you'd get in that team.
No, but I don't think we can survive with this era because, we were very aggressive. We were very tough. And that was the way we played. But right now, the game has gone very, very soft. So can we fit into this new generation? It'll be tough. But yeah, of course, I back myself to be in that.
You'd be getting sent off every second week, John. I still think you'd get in that Chelsea team.
No, I back myself to get in that team,
You and Caicedo. Tasty. Right, taking the Mikel, of course, another edition, another episode done and dusted. Bet Winner, our proud sponsors, Obi-Wan Podcast. Eddie Hearn episode is out now. We're talking boxing, we're talking about football with Eddie. Do tell your friends about us. Give us a rating as well. Subscribe to us. You can do that across all the podcast platforms. You can also do that on YouTube to watch all of our episodes. But Johnny Boy, Chelsea in the top 4. You're looking up. Thanks again.
We are looking up, mate. And up is where we have to keep looking.
Cheers, John.
Cheers, mate.